dating and planning for the future. When is it appropriate? So you're dating, and like the worst is, come on, you guys, like meeting someone right before Valentine's Day. Holy shit. That's the worst. It's like, okay, it's 4 weeks. We've only been dating. Like, what do we do? Are we celebrating Valentine's Day, ignoring it? So it's kind of like a little different dating in our 50s. And when is it appropriate, for example, to plan for a future? You are together. You're starting to grow a relationship. At what point do you talk about holiday plans and where you're at? At what point do you talk about taking a vacation? That's a big step, right? I know it's a big step, but it's kind of like you don't want to seem like as a woman you're too desperate by saying yes too soon. And I would think a guy, as a woman, if a guy asked me to go on a vacation within 2 weeks, I'd kind of be like, oh, a little bit of a red flag. I don't know. But I think it's really interesting. And I want to dive into that. When, society has their norms and what they think, screw what people judge you, do what's right for you, with that said. Because everybody's going to view this a little different. But I'm going to kind of give you the guideline that society says, and you can agree, disagree, and that's why we're talking about it. So they say everything up to 3 months is casual dating. That's like a casual dating situation. You're kind of just getting to know each other, feel each other out, and just keep it casual. You're still maybe dating other people, but 3 months of dating. Okay, let's call that, you're not dating other people. Let me retract that. So you're just getting to know each other, just getting to know, if you see yourself going on a second date, a third date, maybe bringing them around your family, possibly, could be, depending on your situation. And then the next stage is considered 3 to 6 months. So at 3 to 6 months, you're kind of getting into deeper conversations. You're supposedly getting into more of, this is a more intimate part of me. I'm going to let my guard down. I'm going to express my trauma if I have any, or, be comfortable kind of letting yourself go, being vulnerable and honest, starting with that honest conversation. Well, it's always good to start a relationship honest, but I think the open communication kind of grows during those 3 to 6 months. I honestly think that, and, please feel free to comment below. I feel like that 3 to 6 month is one of the most critical times in a relationship when you think about it. And when I talk to other people and specialists, because you really need to have your skill sets about, this is where your self-worth comes into play. This is where you being honest to yourself comes into play. And this is where you start to really see if something might be a red flag. And you have to call yourself out on that. As a woman I'm talking to right now. And what I mean by that is the guy might be attracted. You might be having all this hot, heavy chemistry, but you haven't had some of the deep, deep conversations where you have unraveled the maybe not so much attractive side of yourself. It's like you're getting ready together at one place, hypothetically, sharing a bathroom. Oof. That's a tough one. When do you start sharing a bathroom when you're dating? I think that's like the ultimate. I'm one of those people that I think literally a man and a woman should have their own bathroom. That's just me. I just personally feel that way. Like, you're booking a hotel, make sure it has a half bath. That's the ultimate for me. Just give me a little room on that. But I think these are the things that we disclose during those 3 to 6 months that maybe we are not comfortable disclosing in the first 3 months. And I think guys kind of hold back a little bit on that too. And I think women, it's natural within up to 3 months to kind of still be having fun, not really saying, I'm not sure if this guy's going to be perfect for me. I do see some things, but I'm going to see where it goes. What I do want to convey, and hopefully, you guys agree with, is that during that 3 to 6 months, all the things we talk about, doing the self-work on yourself before you're dating comes into play. And that's why it's so important to actually do the work on yourself before you get, I would say, to the 3 month mark of dating somebody. Because in that 3 to 6 month mark, you're kind of going deeper. and deciding whether you want to go further. If you think about it, how much further? You're definitely already having intimacy. Now it's like, ooh, do I let my kinky side show? I mean, come on, let's be honest. You know, we all have our things that turn on, that turns us on, that doesn't turn us on. This is the time when we're being honest about these kind of things. And, you know, we're starting to meet each other's friends, definitely at this point, and maybe family, like I said. So what to expect in that 3 to 6 months, I think is going to play on a lot of what you did prior. And that's why I'm a huge advocate for, you know, women coming out of, you know, being a caretaker or a nasty divorce, let's call it, or a long-term divorce where you just don't even know what the hell to do. And especially if you have any trauma. And I don't know, we all have our bags. We all carry emotional drama and our emotional baggage. It's a true thing. So if you don't really work on those things when you're in that relationship and you're into that 3 to 6 month window, how do you really know how to like really hone in and address if this is a healthy relationship for me, if I don't know what's healthy for me yet? And that's why I always talk about like, oh, you know, dating and working through finding your purpose, finding yourself, and all those things. You can do both hand in hand at the same time. But here's the thing, when you're approaching that being with that one person during that 3 to 6 months, if you haven't done the stuff on yourself to put you in a healthy position to really go into that 3 to 6 month mark and really evaluate again, you know, does he treat me the way and keep my self-worth at my standards that I will never, ever let somebody do again? For example, for me, somebody raising their voice, that is the hugest trigger for me. It's so huge. I've done everything I can to work on it. Honestly, I have. I've gone to therapy. It was a bad time in my life. You know, it's very scarring. And I can't negate that trauma happened to me. And I have made the mistake in a relationship, punishing another person for just elevating their voice a little bit, such a trigger that I didn't have the coping skills for it. So the first time it happened, I was like, the wall went up a little bit. I didn't say anything because I wasn't ready to say anything. I wasn't ready to test the waters with that honesty yet. Honest communication. I wasn't ready. And as the relationship progressed, I slowly, like, it happened like a third time or a fourth time. By the fourth time, I said, Nicole, you got to like say something because you promised yourself you were never going to be in a situation to let a man raise his voice to you and make it like you put your head down in shame kind of look. And I did. I brought it up. I educated him on why it was difficult for me. I was vulnerable in that moment. I shared it, and it never happened again. It never happened again. Not now, but you have to be at the point where you have to be able to share that example. And I'm using that example right here too again. Whereas in a good relationship, after that, and after doing more work on myself, and yes, I do say more work because we're evolving. If we're evolving as humans, should we evolve on who we are and our purpose and always strive to get, you know, live a better life? So in another relationship, it struck me. And I was like, I can't be around this. I can't. I didn't wait to the fourth time on that time at all. I waited a day. And I do suggest this sometimes. If somebody does something that emotionally triggers you, sit on it for a minute. Sit on it. Find the right words. Find the right time to say that. Don't give up. Don't ever negate what you promised you would never do. Okay? So when I did early on say it, it was dealt with and never has happened again. So going back to the 3 to 6 month mark, these are the times that, you know, you need to be pulling in to your knowledge and into your responses, into your kind of body, mind, and soul of, I will not accept something or I must have something. And you have to be in a place where you know those. nobody's going to ever hit the mark 100% on your wish list. Come on. Let's all be real. And those of you that think you can do it, keep going. Keep going. Those unrealistic lists, hey, I had them. I talk about it on the podcast all the time. People who have this list that they're rigid about, you're going to be standing on an island with your feet dug into the sand, or you're going to be alone on that island with your list. That's the best way I can kind of give you an analogy on that one. So that is something that I think when you're approaching that 3 to 6 month mark, you need to be realistic about your list and what you want or don't want and what you can't have or you're looking for. And know when you can bend, but never, ever give up, women, what you endured in your past that you don't want repeated. And this is definitely the time it's tested in that 3 to 6 month time is, I never want to repeat the pattern I've been on. Up to 3 months, you're not necessarily seeing a pattern yet. 3 to 6 months, there's that room. That's where it's like, okay, that pattern is showing. I'm repeating an unhealthy unhealthy relationship that I don't want to do again. So you have to call yourself out on that. And you have to be honest with yourself. So again, I'm just saying, do your work. So 3 to 6 months, are we talking about our future? I don't know. I mean, I think that 3 to 6 months is just a point where you're really getting to know each other on a deeper level, like I said, on an emotional level. And I do think meeting the friends and the family is going to play a big part because, friends will call shit out that you maybe are ignoring, which is good friends. And those of you that have them, cherish and appreciate them. And if you don't, you need to maybe have a therapist call you out on it or make a list of noting yourself like, this is a pattern I will not accept, and write it out on a stickies, put them on your mirror. I don't care. Put them in a diary, journal. Journaling, they all say is great. My mind can't even journal past two sentences. I can't even concentrate past 2 sentences to actually journal. But honestly, these are things that work for different people. And so during that time, I don't know if people are actually really talking about the future yet. With that said, I am. So here I am. And I am talking about the future already. So I don't think it's black and white. I just think that it depends on how much work you've done to make sure you don't repeat a bad, relationship pattern, and how you've dealt with your trauma or angst or pain or whatever it is that you endured that you want to make sure you don't get into. And it's sometimes really easy to keep a relationship going past the casual time because you're like, oh my God, this person is with me. I don't have to be alone. There's all these positive things and, that you're feeling in that relationship, but you may not be ready to move to the part where I'm at. And I'm not saying I'm anything special. No. I'm just saying I've been through a shit storm and I've forced myself to deal with stuff. And again, so I'm just in a place where I kind of put down my guard and became most vulnerable. Honestly, probably I did it once more. I'm not talking about my past, marriages. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about dating. Being vulnerable is really, really hard for me because everyone lets me down. And, there's that, concept of, if you don't let people in, they're not going to be, able to align with you, get into a deeper relationship. That's true. It's true. But it takes a lot for us sometimes to be vulnerable. And that's for guys and girls. Guys and girls, let's face it. You got to be vulnerable. You got to take it in. You got to do it. Okay. So, I think the majority of people, though, in the 3 to 6 month mark are not necessarily ready. Now, with that said, we got holidays. We all have different religions. We have different holidays. Thanksgiving, when it's family time. What if, the person you're dating doesn't have plans for Thanksgiving and you're in that 3 to 6 month span? Do you invite him to your family? Or do you knowingly let him be alone? Ooh, I don't know. It's a good question. like you can't be hurt if this person you've been dating in that time has a wedding they're going to that perhaps was planned before meeting you and they don't invite you. I think it's okay to say, like, towards a 6 month, like, hey, why didn't you invite me? Like, I, at that point, would definitely be wanting an explanation. I mean, maybe they already did the, like, +1 thing and said no to +1. So you're kind of like screwed on that point a little bit. But I think you have to do that. So that leaves us with 6 months going forward. What's that stage? That is when you're going really deeper and having those deeper conversations. Yeah, that's like going all in at that point. You're talking about, are we together? Are we together? Are we together planning? Like, what if you don't live in the same town or city? That's the time, maybe 4 to 6 months, depending where you're talking about, especially if you're out of state. I would say 4 months, like, look, you live here, I live there. We're seeing each other every other weekend around work. Is this viable? But if you live in the same town, 15, 20, 30 minutes, an hour, it could go more towards the 6 month mark, having that discussion, I would think. And I think that, it's a tough discussion. Who's going to say it first? Is it going to be the guy or the girl that's going to have that heavy conversation? Let's face it, it's usually the women. We're touchy-feely for the most part, not all of us though. And then there's some guys that are very soft and sensitive. They may not look like it, but they are. And they want to know if they're wasting their time on you if you don't see them as a future. Well, I think it goes both ways. I think that's a man and a woman should kind of embrace that time, which is, okay, let's have that heavy talk. When are we going to look at the future and start inviting each other for holidays? Talking about, 6 months to a year, dating in your 50s up, time is, the clock is ticking a little bit. We don't want to go in and just, casually date that long only to find out the guy or the girl is not like, no, not into it. And you're like, what the fuck? Why have you been with me that long if you don't want to go longer in a relationship, right? So I think that 6 month mark is a really big one in dating when we're older. Because, when you're younger, they talk about the biological clock ticking for women. And again, for dating 50 plus women, it's a different clock that's ticking. It's that much older. Like, I'm 55. If I'm in a relationship in 6 months, that fucks me up. That just does. I mean, I have to date much older men now, so it's not necessarily the same. So you really have to kind of you need to kind of know where you're going to go with that. And you need to have that discussion of, okay, we've been dating, we've been together. Okay, do we want to talk about our future? And the lighter future is starting to go to events together, starting to go to family events together. Vacations are just planned. And at this point, you guys are rocking and rolling. You're into it. You've had great intimacy. And also, here's the thing. In the beginning, when you're dating, you're like bunny rabbits, going at it, having fun. When life starts getting a little more adjusted, there are nights you're like, babe, I'm just tired. And you're both tired and you're going to sleep. So it starts becoming like a normal relationship where people are settling in. Not settling in. That's a big difference between settling and settling in, right? I like that. Just kind of thought of that one. So, I think in the 6 month mark to a year, depends on where you live versus in terms of geography, when you start talking about like moving in together. That's a huge thing. If you think about it, oh my God, like literally, like I don't want a guy moving into my place with his plaques of sports shit in my nicely decorated place, right? I mean, our guys might feel that way. The woman wants to bring in her, stuffed animal collection into his very nice bachelor pad, I mean, these are the kind of things that you're looking for in having the discussion and starting to kind of think like, how's that going to play out? And that's when I think it's important to have those discussions, because if she doesn't want to give up her bunny foo-foo collection and insist on it being on the headboard of your bed, and you're like, that fucking is not acceptable. I'll never be able to have sex looking at bunny foo-foo in the bed. Or as a woman who has spent maybe a good many years designing their home, or it's the way they want it and the vibe, whether it's boho, chic, whatever the hell it is. And he's bringing in that reclining chair that he's had since college and wants to put it in the middle of the living room. Hell no. But then again, right? That's when you got to have the give and take a little bit. But I can say that no guy's moving in with his recliner from age 18 when he's like 50 plus. Like, gross. I'm like one of those people that also, okay. How about at what point are you saying, I don't want to sleep in the same sheets where you're with another woman? Okay, I feel that way. I do. Like, at some point, it grosses me out to think about sharing sheets with the guy I'm with in a relationship, knowing that, there was some activity in there multiple times before I'm laying in these sheets. Sheets got to go. I'm saying 6-month rule. Sheets got to go. Maybe the bedding. And guys, if you still have shit from a previous relationship in your cabinet in the bathroom, like hairsprays and lotions, makeup, baby, dude, get a grip. Get rid of it. Well, don't wait for her to say it. Come on. Like, really be more present in bringing a woman into your life and get rid of the shit that was before. No woman wants to use a bathroom with another woman's brush, hairspray, toothbrush. I don't give a shit what it is. Get the fuck out. Move it. It's out of inventory. Done. If you had a dog bed that belonged to a previous person you dated dog and you don't have a dog, get rid of it. Why are you holding on to a dog bed from a previous relationship? Because you just like lazy and didn't think about it, which I get. Like, some people are just like, what? It's just sitting in there. I'm not thinking about it. But once you're dating somebody, especially women, I don't know if it's women or men more on this, but they're like, you're not jealous per se, and you don't want a jealous person. I don't care how confident you are as a person in a relationship. Nobody wants to see previous shit from anybody. They just don't. So in that 6-month markup, get rid of your shit. And women, if you are uncomfortable with something in somebody's life that you have to always see, it's okay to say it. It's okay to say, I don't want to open the drawer every day and see that blush. Why is it there? Especially if you don't have any girls in the house, like, why is it there? So that's a conversation that I think that you have to be open to having. And, during this time, going back to like not having sex all the time and settling in, not settling, you're starting to ebb and flow. You're seeing each other's quirks. The guy in the shower is now blowing his nose and you're hearing it. Maybe leaving the door open to the bathroom and you can hear him pee. This is the time when everyone's kind of letting their guard down and they're like showing shit. Guys, you're seeing the girl without their makeup a lot. Now ladies, we're now starting to be like, we need our skin routine on our nights. I can't just do it when I'm not with you, because we're probably spending a few nights together more than we were during our 3 to 6 months together. So you're going to see us without our makeup. You're going to see us putting on our creams, mask, all that kind of bullshit. Yeah. That's when you're getting really vulnerable. So this is the going deeper. It's not just about emotional, it's about the lifestyle. And you're going to kind of see each other's friends and you kind of try and like look at them and go, why do they have such eccentric friends? Why are all their friends cold to me? Why is the family so aloof with me? And you're going to take it personally, and it may not be personally, and it may not be personal. It could be the person you're dating has been dating a lot of people in search of their person. So it's not a bad thing that they dated a lot of people before you, but they were searching for that person. And so every time they started maybe into a 3-month area and dating someone, they would bring around the family and friends. And then by the 6 months to a year, they're like out of the picture. So your friends and family are kind of like, how are we going to take this person serious or even get to like them when from your past behavior, you kind of are getting them out of your life? So don't be offended. It's a good question to ask. Why were your mom and dad not talking to me, or your sister or brother, or, your friends seem to be not making plans with us. These are the times to have those discussions, because these are the times that we are bringing each other around into our lives, into our children's lives. And these people are really important to us. And they are going to hopefully be honest and give you feedback on how they view this person that you're seeing. And you got to listen. I mean, if all your friends and family are saying the same thing, that they're seeing in someone, they maybe see the way they treat you that you're not noticing, or they're calling you out on repeated behavior. So this is important. It's important. I think it's important to start bringing, your significant other you're dating within, that 6-month mark, or perhaps, I believe, but some people it's not till 6 months around those people, so they can help kind of tap in and see if you're being authentic. And at the same time, you're going through thinking about the holidays, thinking about vacations. When is it time to start talking about these things and planning a future? Tough one to answer, right? But if you think about the different stages, I said up to 3 months, up to 3 to 6 months, and then we're talking about 6 month plus. I think the answer is 6 month plus, 5, 6, depending on how often you're being together. If you're with somebody only seeing them like 2 days a week, it's going to take longer to get there. It doesn't matter about how long you've been dating. It's about how long you've spent together. And I'm not just talking about whining and dining and having everything fun. I'm talking about like going for a walk, taking the dogs for a walk, hair up in a ponytail if your girl no makeup on. Guys, like just, it's not an expensive date scenario. These are the things that make it like life. And this is the time where you have to start living life as a couple in those uncomfortable moments of being vulnerable. And I think once you get to that point, I think it's time to start talking about the future. And I think it's appropriate specifically after 6 months if you've been spending time together. Obviously, that number and that needle is going to move. If you're spending 5 days out of the week together, come on, let's face it. 3 months, 5 days out of the week is different than two days a week and 6 months. It's different. You're living life. You're at a little bit of a faster pace. So I say these marks, but it all depends on the frequency of seeing each other. And, not just date night mode, but really starting to get to know each other. And I think say you've really gotten to know each other, I'm just using this 6 month as a marker, but beyond, I do think that is the time where it's okay to start saying, 2 months before Christmas or Hanukkah or Thanksgiving is a big one. I mean, I love Thanksgiving. Who doesn't? I mean, if you don't like Thanksgiving, I don't know, it's warm, fuzzy. It's so great. I want my person to feel it. I want to feel that warm fuzzy going to their home or whoever, their children's home or family's home, whatever is their thing for Thanksgiving. And my feelings would be hurt as a single woman that doesn't have a big family like me. My feelings would be hurt if by that time somebody wasn't including me. I would question it if I've been spending a lot of time, not just the 2 day a week kind of thing. And, then there's the vacation. When do you plan a vacation together? I think that has 2 answers. Some people, and I did this with my late husband. Again, we were divorced, young kids. And early on, we hadn't even been intimate yet. And he asked me to go on vacation. And I was like in my 30s. And I remember being like, oh, gosh, do I do this? We haven't even slept together. I'm going away and contemplating that. And a really good work friend colleague said to me, Nicole, you said you don't want to waste any time with someone serious if it wasn't going towards a future. You have your own money. You can go on the vacation and fly back if it sucks. And I'm like, good point. Because going on a vacation, if you've not been intimate especially, is really, I think it has anxiety all over it for a woman especially. Like it's definitely going to hit that mark of like, wow. But I think it's kind of a good test to see how you two are, if you want to view it like that. Then there's people that are like, no, I want to get to know them first before I go on a vacation. So I think traveling and going on a vacation can't come before necessarily like meeting the friends and meeting the family, because you're testing just the two of you, how you travel, how you like downtime, how you like to be when they're traveling. If one person wants to go to a million sightseeing spots starting at 6 a.m., going till 5, and their motor is running and they got to see everywhere, whereas you're the person that wants to wake up on a vacation late, take it slow, maybe sit by the pool, maybe see one tourist thing a day. that's going to tell you a lot about how you are going to be as a couple in your future. Because if we're dating 50s and up, we're heading towards retirement years. So what do people do? They travel. They start becoming grandparents and traveling. So I almost think like going on a vacation is really important. It tells you a lot about that person and how you align or don't. And as I'm saying this, it really does. It really does when you think about it. Hell no. If somebody was waking me up at 6 a.m. and I'm on a cruise or whatever, I want my cappuccino, because I do a cappuccino on vacations. That's my treat. I love a good cappuccino. On the cruise ships, they make them so good. I don't know what it is. The coffee beans are great. But these are the times where I think a vacation can come before the long-term committed 6-month mark. And then there are those that view it the other way. But when it comes to, in closing, when to plan for the future, I think you need to keep in mind a general rule about up to 3 months, 3 to 6 months, 6 month plus. But you cannot discount the amount of times you spend together to follow that rule. And most importantly is during that time, make sure you're being honest with yourself. Please, that's all I'm asking. And just for both sides to be honest. I know it's hard to be vulnerable. I know it's hard to let down your guard. And I know it's hard to call yourself out, but you need to. You need to have the rule book for yourself, and you need to call yourself out, and you need to be honest and have fun. I mean, this is why I always say date while you're working on yourself. You must do it. I do it. I'm still doing it. I've evolved over the few months I've been doing this, and I'm honest, and I talk about it on the platform. So anybody that wants to comment their thoughts about planning for the future, dating in our 50s, when do we do it? Hit that button, subscribe for future discussions and specialists and everything we do on 50s AF podcast. Wow, I fumbled my own podcast name. Yeah, I'm just so excited thinking about vacation because maybe I'm going on one. All right, guys, till next time, Nicole Chanis, hostess of 50s AF podcast, where we talk about everything that we deal with, specifically women dating in our 50s. Because if we don't keep it real and have a platform where women can hear you're not alone in feeling things, I don't know. What's my purpose in doing this? Okay, guys, till next time. Bye.